Summer is calling and adventure awaits at the Y. Registration for YMCA Southcoast Summer Day Camp is officially open. Summer Day Camp at the Y offers participants unique experiences in swimming, sports, outdoor exploration, creative arts, and so much more, all while they are building new friendships and confidence that lasts a lifetime. Camp is about belonging. It's about trying something new. It's about growing stronger, kinder, and braver every single day. And parents, you can feel good knowing your kids are safe, supported, and building skills for a life in a caring and uplifting environment. Spots are filling up fast, so don't wait. Visit ymcasc.org to register today. There's no place like this place.
Good afternoon and welcome to WMB1 Radio, where I am here with Lucria Ortiz, who is currently the Y president and CEO. All right, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Brian is happy to be back in the studio with you.
Good. Today we're here. You're here to provide us with some information about some programs that are going on at the Y.
Yeah.
Mainly swim. Enlighten us. Go ahead, enlighten us.
I'm glad to be here during this month. May is Water Safety Month, and we talk about water safety all the time in the YMCA. But particularly for me as a leader in an oceanside community, that conversation is even more elevated. I think about all the time, all the kids that will engage with water over the summer, whether they're getting in a boat or going to the beach, and them learning the critical skills of swimming is going to be so important for them. As you know, I've been here a year.
It seems just like yesterday.
Yes.
You rolled into New Bedford.
Yes, it's wonderful, right? June 2nd actually will be my anniversary. But in one of my early conversations with our friends at Community Boating, he shared with me, that CEO, Andy, shared with me how many of his youth get into boats and they don't know how to swim. So that's particularly important for me, and making sure that the Y is a space where everyone can come to, can afford, and learn how to swim. So we're talking about swim a lot this month. We do every year, but particularly because people live near lakes here, the ocean, there are lots of private pools. It is, super important for us to talk about it.
Yeah, especially being here in the South Coast. We're right on the shore. We're right on the shore. So, I believe it is very important. I know as a young kid, my first interactions with the YMCA was just it, learning how to swim.
That's great. I love to hear it.
I remember, I want to say I was probably around 8 years old, maybe eight or 9 years old. So even guys as kids, that you never want to not tell anyone you don't know how to swim, because it's like embarrassing. It's like, So I remember going and a bunch of my friends were jumping in the water, and they go into the deep end, and myself, I'm like, no. And they're like, you don't know how to swim? I'm like, I know how to swim. Watch me swim. Like pitter patter paddle. But one of my first interactions with the Y, because I remember being young, was wanting to go into the pool.
Right.
And I remember, and then when we were done in the pool, I did see that they had swimming lessons, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna partake in that. Sure enough, I did. I went to a couple of classes, and I felt comfortable enough, and boom. So yes, I can relate to you with the swimming. But getting back to what I was saying, as far as kids learning how to swim, one never knows. One never knows. me personally, I've seen accidents happen in pools.
That's right.
In pools.
That's actually where the greatest amount of accidents
Yes.
happen, in pools.
Yeah. So, we tend to think the ocean or, lakes or whatever. But pools is one of the biggest things. A close family friend had, an accident with somebody who passed in a pool.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's very important to teach kids at a very young age to learn how to swim. And
It's true. And you named a couple of things. You talked about when you were young, that peer pressure to learn how to swim. I'm glad that you felt that, especially as a young Black man, because in terms of like the drowning rates for the Black community in particular and people of color, they're much higher. And, that's for several reasons. There are historical reasons. Black folks were excluded from swimming way back in the day. So, that is really important for us to talk about. And then it's good that your parents took the initiative to bring you to the Y, because the other reason why people of color oftentimes are not engaged in swim lessons is because it's generational,
yes.
right? If your parents didn't know about swim or didn't learn how to swim, chances are you won't. So we want to end that generational gap by making sure we really introduce parents to the notion of swimming as a life-saving skill, right? Definitely have fun, but it's a life-saving skill. And I'll just give you some facts, right? You can drown in a bucket of water, right? And the time that it takes, from the time it takes for you getting out of the shower to grab a towel, someone can drown. That's seconds. And oftentimes, when someone is under distress, say they are in a pool or in a public setting, they can't be heard if they're yelling for help. So those are the things that are really important for people to understand about navigating water. And, we want all of our youth to be able to partake in all of the water activity that happens on the South Coast. And that means learning how to swim for us.
Yeah. Like I said, being on the South Coast, we take it for granted that everyone knows how to swim, and that's not always the case. There are some people who, like I said, like myself, I just was like, yeah, I could swim, but a lot of times for the men, I'll say it for the men, even as adults, you'll be surprised. You brought up a very important part. Men of color, a lot of them do not know how to swim.
That's right.
A lot of them do not know how to swim. I've been in pools, and guys, I don't know how to swim. Because, like you said, generational. Unfortunately, sometimes you might just go through life and never go. But with places such as the Y, who are offering swim classes, and they have the wherewithal of having the pool there. It's you got to take advantage of every opportunity.
It's true, and we have adult swim lessons as well. And the other thing you would want to think about as an adult is there's plenty of industry around here that involves water, right? The fishing industry, commercial fishing industry is one of them. So making sure all of our fishermen, right, anyone even aspiring to that, is ready to be on the water. So it's truly important for us, I think, from a holistic community perspective, and not to make fun of anyone who doesn't know how to swim, right? You experience that. We don't want people experiencing that, so we're really having an open conversation about it. Two of the things that we're really proud of is we're developing a partnership with the schools. So I don't know about you, I'm older than people look, but I learned how to swim in school. My middle school in Connecticut had a pool, and I had a swim class, right, built into my schedule, right? It may have replaced gym class. So that was a regular part of a lot of, public school education.
Yeah.
And just like home economics was, just like wood shop.
Yes.
So we really taught like a lot of important skills people should have. But over the years, budget cuts, pools are incredibly expensive to maintain. So we've seen the disappearance of that. And I think the Y can play a really important role with our districts to ensure that kids are actually coming to us during their school day. So we're really excited. We got a $100,000 grant from Senator Montigny through the Community Foundation to develop a partnership with the Parker School. We are also developing it with the Taylor School. I'm working closely with the superintendent so that students can come over during their school day and learn how to swim, because we think it's just such an integral part of their learning period. And I mean, how fun it would be to like break up the school day, come to the Y and learn how to swim. And we're really starting with the younger kids. For those of you who are parents out there, you can actually bring your infant to learn to swim. You would be amazed to see how an infant navigates water. There's no fear there. So starting them that young is like a wonderful way, and I see someone in the chat learning how to swim at the Y at 5. I love that. I love to hear
Yes.
that.
That is one of my friends. There you go again. So back in our day, he's pretty much the same age as I am. The Y was utilized as as a recreational place. Obviously,
Yeah.
we went there. A lot of times it was Saturday, go to the Y. It would involve playing basketball, then going to swim, then going to run around and run on the exercise machines and all that stuff in the weight room.
Sure.
That's what we used to do.
Yeah.
And then it was just like a copy and paste. We just do it until we got tired.
Right. Right.
We paid for a day pass, and that was our Saturday or Sunday thing back in the day. And as Nate is saying, 5 years old. I like I said, I was probably around 8 years old.
Right.
I was one of those that, I like I said, for a long time, I know how to swim, but really didn't know how to swim.
Right. Yeah, no, that's important. We do have youth that come spend a lot of time with us, right? We still have kids coming to play basketball after school. We obviously have our youth, basketball league for YBL for learning basketball players, the little guys. So the Y still serves like a very important role to have a lot of formative experiences for our youth. But the swim is one of them that will continue to deepen. And I'm going to keep talking about how really important it is for us to get to other communities and make sure like our people, around here on the South Coast are getting into our pools. If you are a member of the YMCA, you are basically a member of every Y on the South Coast. So you have the ability to attend at least 5 branches that have pools of the 6. And in the summertime, we're very intentional about making sure our kids who come to camp also learn how to swim and engage in the water. So every interaction we have with youth, if your youth are coming to preschool or after school and we have a pool, we're getting them in the pool. It's just something that's really important. It's a huge part of our mission, but I also think it's a big service to communities.
Yeah. Now you said 6. Can you name the 6?
I can. So we have Stoico First Fed, which is in Swansea. That's one branch. Then we have Fall River, Dartmouth, which has a beautiful farm.
That's the one that got me. I did not know there was a Y in Dartmouth.
Yeah, there is. It's an old dairy barn that used to be a restaurant and an ice creamery and a kids museum, but we've had it for quite a few years. So there is a fitness facility there, but there's also a big farm. And then there's New Bedford, Mattapoisett, and Gleason. That's in Wareham.
Yeah, so I'm when you said that, I'm counting in my head, and I'm like,
right,
I'm missing one.
Right.
So that's why I had you say but yeah, I did not know that there was one in Dartmouth.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and that one, that one is like a gem in all of our country, actually, because There are only 4 farms in the YMCA network nationwide, and ours in Dartmouth is the very first one.
Oh, nice.
So we set the stage for bringing agriculture into the YMCA, bringing food programming, attacking food insecurity, but also we do a lot of learning and education for student groups at our farm as well.
Nice, nice. So obviously I learned something new today. So
Yeah.
just out of the conversation, like I said, Dartmouth, I'm counting. I'm like 1, 2, wait a second. I knew all about all the other ones, but Dartmouth, I did not know. So I learned something today. If there's anything that you can learn today with the information that she's given, it's helpful. I know we run quite a few. You guys are a sponsor for us, which I'm proud to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you. The partnership is 2 ways.
And we do a lot of commercial ads and everything. And the one that ran in the beginning about the summer camp, I know that's really huge around here. When my oldest daughter was young, she actually attended the summer camp. And everything you said about the swimming, everything, they go on their trips and everything. Loved it.
That's great.
She absolutely loved it. Unfortunately, the following year, she made lots of friends and
too cool for camp.
To the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, got it. Of course.
So that's what happened with her. But she, the 1 year that she did go, absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I told her, I said, yeah, so, this is something that I used to do, not the camp per se, but the swimming. And I used to tell her all about the stories and everything like that. But like I said, absolutely loved it. If not for the fact that she had made friends that, persuaded her to go to the Boys and Girls Club, I think she would have done it over and over again.
Right. No, I mean, that makes sense. And shout out to our friends at the Girls and Boys Club. All of the youth serving organizations are so important,
Yes.
for our area,
Yes.
so that our youth have spaces to connect and enrich their own lives. Summer camp is truly a special place. It really allows kids to have just sort of a different kind of structured day than school, to find themselves, build, a network that they may not get access to, kids that they may not engage with in other places. So that's what we love about camp. We definitely keep them busy, and it couldn't happen without all of the camp counselors we hire. So when I talk about camp, I really like to talk about who makes it happen. And we hire about 250 camp counselors for across the region to serve all of our camps. And they do incredible work. And most of our camp counselors are high schoolers or college kids themselves. So they're youth. And for us, that's their first formative work experience. So we're really looking at how we can be much more intentional about making sure they understand that they're entering a job journey with us. And if anyone is interested in being a camp counselor, right, we're getting really close to the time, but yeah, you should, jump on our pages and apply. I'm sure, some youth that have been camp counselors at the Y. It's the first job for many people.
Yeah.
And we're so grateful because a camp counselor has to be on that job. I think I have to be on. No, our camp counselors are on all day long, and we train them to do so. We try to give them the tools to do that, but we're really grateful for that.
Yeah, it's like you said, it serves as a dual purpose. You're employing them, and you're also giving them the tools that they need to go out into the workplace. So it's a great experience. It's and I'm sure a lot of them have come up through the camp, so they know. It's like giving back too. It's like, okay, I'm going to give back, and at the same time, I'm getting paid.
That's right.
And I'm getting experience.
It's true, and for some, it is an entree to childcare work, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of our camp counselors, they become after school counselors, or they begin the pathway to becoming a preschool teacher. And that's really important. So they're doing career exploration with us and some sort of workforce development. And that's something that we're proud to do to help youth like really look at that as a career path, especially since education and teaching has changed a great deal. So if we could, be a partner in helping people think about a journey towards becoming either a teacher, a preschool teacher, or anything in childcare, that's critically important for our communities. Childcare right now is uh, incredibly expensive,
Yes. Yes.
hard to get. For those of us on this side of the work, there is a lack of preschool teachers in particular. So we're thinking a lot more intentionally about our programs that teach people how to care for children.
Yeah. The Y had going to the Y. I could see there's so many outlets, so, and how you can develop kids' lives through not only through going there but being employed as well. So anybody who has kids out there, everything that she's saying is very true. You can go there. You can actually go to the Y, and then as you get older, become a counselor. Give back to the community. Share your experiences while helping others, and at the same time, making money.
That's right. That's right. We have a lot of young people that work for us. They work at the front desk, they'll work as a lifeguard, they'll work on our wellness floor. So there's lots of career exploration that can be done. I think people think about the Y as a first job, but I talk to a lot of my CEO colleagues. And while I got my start in the Y about 10, 11 years ago, a lot of my CEO colleagues started off as lifeguards or camp counselors. So it can be a lifelong journey in an organization that serves so many communities.
And I will say this much: um, the landscape of how the Y has transformed since I went as to how it is now
Yeah.
is like night and day.
Right.
Just by how you said how a lot of young adults are working. When I went, they were like 60s, 70, older people.
That's right.
People, and now having kids. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that, but looking at it now in today's day and age, it's always good to have somebody that can relate to them.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I love that you said that, right? The Y, like America, is constantly undergoing evolution. And we've been around, so America's been around 250 years. The YMCA has been around 175 years of that. This is the 175th year of the Y, and it first started in Boston. And so through that, though, we've had to examine how we do things in various communities. And I'm not sure when our 3 pillars were developed, maybe in our rebranding in 2010, but the Y's for youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. And we intentionally lead with youth development, right? That is a big focus of ours. The youth are always primary and also our future. So it is important for us to make sure our organization is infused with youth from an employment standpoint, but then also how we serve them and hearing their voice, right?
Yeah.
Hearing their voice. I think as a leader, I am thinking a lot more and ensuring that we're listening to our frontline staff, and a lot of them are young people. So I love that you shared that. I think the other evolution for YMCAs is, I've worked at several YMCAs, right? I came from the New Jersey, New York area. But for many of them, they're still perceived as these old boys clubs, right? And that is the understanding, the perception. They may not be affordable, economically accessible. So we have to do a good job of examining if we're for all, right? If we're an organization that says that we're for all, then how can we be that way? right? And that means looking at our board, looking at our staff. So we're having that internal conversation. That's not easy, but very important, especially for someone like me, right, who understands life from that lens as a woman of color, and really engaging in a careful, caring conversation around this in a highly charged time. And I think bringing people to the table, calling them in and talking about it and creating safe spaces to do that will move us, right? We're a large organization, so that movement might be a little slower for some, but it is paramount in terms of priority for our board as well as our leadership.
Absolutely. So, with your 1 year anniversary coming up,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that I should say that some things that were pleasant surprises that you didn't expect,
Yeah.
that were like, oh, I came here and I was thinking differently, and somehow this and a great experience.
I will say I have transitioned into various communities and organizations having worked for the Y, and this one has been the most natural. I tell everyone across the South Coast, people were just willing to meet with me, right? Allow me to learn from them. That was like really refreshing. And as I talk to people more, that is like the culture. It is not something that it's embedded in people here, right? Like opening that door. And I think some people were actually surprised that I wanted to. So that collective sort of gathering around a new leader, and I've seen it with myself and others, I think is a beautiful thing. You don't get that everywhere.
Yeah, no. So once again, Nate is just like, he's like on me. So he's saying, this is something that I forgot that used to happen. He's saying that the school system used to give kids a voucher during winter and spring vacations to use in order to learn swim at the YMCA. He's talking about the early '80s.
I love that.
So yeah, so he just brought some back. Yes, so yeah, they used to, I remember them. I remember the teacher asking. Distinctly in class, if anybody wants to go, that they have vouchers and stuff like
I
that.
love that. I love that.
And I
Thank you for that.
I actually opened up Gome School.
Oh,
I was when I went when it was brand new. I had just went in fourth grade. I
right.
was one of the fourth grade classes that went in there, and like I said, you just scrubbed my brain right there. And yes, they used to offer vouchers. They used to offer vouchers and stuff. And they also, I don't know if you remember this, they used to have, the Y used to have, on the weekends, they would have like bring one person along with you to get them free,
Right.
And all that stuff. They used to run all different kind of promotions and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's a space we're leaning into more. One of the things that we started here at the New Bedford Y is a teen night once a month, right? A free night. We close down the Y to everybody else, and teens have free reign. And they're connecting with each other, they're engaging in everything that the Y has to offer, but really giving them that space, to find community. And I think that's really important. And the reason why that's really important to me is one of the things I discovered in my year is that we have concerted programming all the way from preschool to 12 years of age. But after that, it's not intentional, it's not structured, and that sends a message to our teens, right? So we want to make sure that they know that they're welcome, and we're thinking about what are you doing in the after school time, especially, and how could we be better about that. But I'm a methodical and strategic leader, so one of the starts is, just having a teen night. And, I see Janine on there. I remember having open nights at community centers when I was young. We loved that,
Yeah.
right? Because if you go back to your teen days, especially in New England, there weren't a lot of spaces for you to be in. And so we want to think about that all the time, and create spaces for them to come and just be kids. And the staff reports, right? I think I was talking to Tara Pacheco, the executive director. They're not on their phones. They want to engage in board games. Like, they want to do all of those things. And that is so critical for our youth right now, right?
Yeah, that is very critical, because trying to get those electronics away from them is really tough.
It's true. This is the generation that really did a deep dive into electronics, because we actually forced them during the pandemic, right, to be on Zoom. Everything was happening on social media, like when the world shut down. So that's part of their formative experience. And youth are getting phones a lot earlier. So one of the things we do at the Y is, try to create these no phone zones so that, they have space to really engage with each other, do that socialization, because you miss out if you're not engaging with people in IRL, real life.
I know the local schools around here just instituted, I believe it was this year, with the no phones. So when the kids go into the schools now, they have a pouch in which they give them, and kind of gets sealed. I speak to my kids about it, and they're like, "Yeah, it's no big deal, no big deal."
Right.
But then there are other kids who, they do differently. Not everybody is the same. Some kids struggle more, but as you said, this is all part of their generation. It's all part of their generation.
Yeah, I think it's, offering them the option to not be with it, right? Because once they leave school, it's going to be with them all of the time, right? Once they're not in spaces where, it's going to be with them all the time. So having that like break of an option, and think about like what it's doing to your brain to constantly be on. And we're in youth development. We know that brain development stops in your early 20s. So to have your brain influenced by a phone or whatever else you're using during an important time of your life, right? When you're just like getting to know the world, it's important.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to read the comment. Family fun days are a great time to check out the pool and our program offerings. Stop by the New Bedford YMCA tomorrow night for Family Fun Day, 6 to 8 p.m. Enjoy pool games, STEAM activities, obstacle courses, Zumba, coloring, and more for all ages. And I believe it says, what does it say?
It's free and open to the public.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you to my friends down there at the New Bedford Y. Yeah, that's really important, for you to engage in what we do. And there's plenty of opportunities to engage in activity. I know I'm a parent. I have a 22-year-old and a 20-year-old right now. But when they were younger, I was constantly looking for things for them to do. So we definitely welcome you to engage. I think that's one of the things that I do love about the YMCA. We call it every age and stage, right? And so there are youth, but there's such an intergenerational experience that happens at the YMCA. So their parents might be like engaged in a Zumba class, or their grandfather could be, lifting weights. And we think that that is really important today, to have a space where all ages are engaging with each other.
Yeah. Once again, as you're saying these things, especially about the youth with the teen nights and stuff like that, I consider myself lucky because I had the best of both worlds. I was a Denison Memorial kid because I grew up on South First Street, but I had family that lived up the West End. So in my time, I would go to the back then it was just the boys' club. There was no girls.
That's right. That's right. They've had evolution too.
Yes. So I used to frequent between both, and both spaces would do the same. They would have a teen night.
Right.
For us, it was a teen party. So you have a DJ in there,
Yeah.
and you know, and it made you feel, it made you feel like it was your night. And it's important for kids because a lot of times, you just, you have your regular routine, and every once in a while it's okay. Yeah, it's your night. You, like you said, you close it down and you just give them, it's your space. Go ahead, have at it.
Right.
And I recall that too with with both the Boys Club and Denison Memorial. They did that, so it's good to see. Some of the things that when I was a kid, it's still going on.
Oh yeah, they're still
Um,
going on. We know
still
like
going
how
on.
incredibly important it is to
Yeah.
convene these spaces for youth.
Absolutely. We have to definitely keep them busy, keep them focused, and the more you offer, the less time they are on the streets.
Yeah, it's true. I think about that all the time. I'm a former public defender, right? I think you know that I'm a lawyer. I started off my career in public defense, and I learned pretty early that a lot of crime is committed between the hours of 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock. And so when I went into youth development, I had that lens of thinking, all right, how am I going to occupy the time of my young people so that they have stronger influences, better mentors, an adult who really cares for them, and the why, along with all these other great organizations, do that. And that's critically important for us.
Yeah. It's the it where I don't think a lot of people realize how lucky we are to have all these outlets here. We mentioned a few of them, the Y, the Boys and Girls Club, Denison Memorial,
The YWCA.
YWCA.
Yes.
All these places, they're outlets for the kids to go and to do something. And as you said, those hours of crime, those are it's very important to get the kids, somewhere where they can do, they can let off some steam, but at the same time enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
It's I see a lot of things going on with cuts, and it seems always that the first thing that they want to do is cut the like after school programs.
It's true.
I can't wrap my head around that. It's like, okay, like like the kids, they don't need it.
Right. And what I find interesting about it is, our youth, they're our future workforce, right? And that after school time is not just recreation, right? Anytime that they're away from school, they're building self. So if you have intentional programs that help them build self, see themselves, we have programs here in New Bedford and across that do career exploration, right? Like we want to think about that some more. But adding funding to that, to me, is what's important for our future as communities and a society. Because we also know that there's incredible talent in our communities, incredible talent.
Yes.
And so giving a space for some of that, to come out during the after school time, especially, is really important.
Absolutely. The kids are our future.
Most definitely.
They are our future. In closing, what is your vision for the Y? What is your, what do you hope to bring to the Y in your vision?
For sure. I think making sure the Y is reflective of the community in how we're serving. So it means we are creating programs that the community actually needs. So we're actually in the middle of a capital campaign to renovate the New Bedford YMCA.
Oh.
And we just held a community leader forum. We had about 60 leaders come. And the reason why that was important for us is because we can't renovate this building without listening to the community. So creating spaces where we're doing that is going to be really important for us. So we were grateful. We had nonprofit leaders in there, all the organizations, some of them that you mentioned were present. We had business leaders, elected officials, and now it's time for us to continue to have a conversation with other folks so that we're creating something. Whys are supposed to bend to their community, right? And so Dartmouth, it makes sense that there's a farm there because there's a lot of farming in that area, right? Mattapoisett, that YMCA has a sailing camp. It's on the ocean. It should. So each facility is meant to like truly understand the spirit of the community and ensure that we meet that. And here there are lots of things going on: housing, affordability, food insecurity. So we're not in all of those spaces where we definitely do work around food insecurity. That's something that's growing for us. But we can be the convener to ensure people get what they need.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Before we close, feel free to let people know how they can get in touch with you.
Of course. Well, you can always visit our website, ymcasc.org. You could take a walk right down the street and go see our friends at the New Bedford YMCA, or check out any of our other locations. Our team is here to serve, and we're always open and welcoming of new members, but anyone in the community looking to engage and connect with people.
Thank you. As always, anytime you have something that you want to
For sure.
get out to the public, feel free to use WMB1 Radio as that bridge. That's what we're here for. We're always here to help anyone get the message out by any means necessary.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So anytime, the platform is always open.
I love the partnership. Thank you so much. And thank you all for listening.
All right. Thank you. We're going to close. And once again, thank you to Lucria Ortiz, President and CEO of Southcoast YMCA.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And this broadcast will be actually, we're going to rerun it, and we're going to re-air it tomorrow on probably around 12:30, 1 o'clock. All right. So
wonderful. Tune in.
If you missed it and you're interested in seeing it, tune in tomorrow. All right.
All right. Thank you.